So welcome back to the channel, guys. This is the Ninja Movies, and today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different, a little bit out of my comfort zone, but I'm going to be doing my first official comic book series and review. It's going to be my first any sort of like book review. I've never done anything like this, so bear with me. But I'm actually going to be reviewing the 5-issue set of the Dexter Down Under, which I showed off in my previous comic book update. I'm a huge fan of the TV series. Unfortunately, I have not read the books as of yet, but all these comics are written by Jeff Lindsay, and I was just so goddamn intrigued how they're going to get Dexter from Miami to Australia. And pretty much the plot of this series is Dexter, it's not completely like in line with the TV show. He seems a lot younger. Characters are still alive that die off in the show, so it's it's not compliant with the show, but the characters are still referenced in the same. Like he references Deb heavily in the show, and the Dark Passenger. All the themes are still like the show itself. Pretty much he gets to Australia simply by writing a book that is big in the cop community, and there's a string of murders in Australia that have got no leads whatsoever. There's families getting slain like left and right. I'm talking kids, mothers, fathers, and they're all immigrants into Australia. And so that's pretty much the plot. He gets flown out here. I did like that a lot of the landmarks are really here in Australia, and they mentioned places like Barwon Prison and things like that. So I thought that was pretty cool. I know I'm Australian, so I'm probably just looking at it like harsher, but just the lingo that is always used from Americans writing about Australians cringes me out. Like, I can't stand the word drongo. Maybe it was bigger before my time, but God, nobody talks like that anymore. We do say mate a lot, so I'll give it a pass, but yeah, it's really sort of the insults like drongo and bastard. They say bastard nearly every second sentence, every Aussie cop in this, so I don't know. It was a bit cringe for me personally. But pretty much the whole plot of this is there's actually a killer by the name of Grigsby, and because it's a 5-issue set, he was really the only suspect from the get-go. And he actually has a website where you can hunt and kill immigrants pretty much, and he has this whole thing set up. He's about white Australia, and it's actually a story of racism, which I didn't know how they were going to angle the serial killer in this, so it was pretty goddamn cool. The storyline has a start and a finish. It's just all continuous, all about this Grigsby character. They actually, Dexter and the female cop that's meant to be like Deb from Australia, they actually get tranquilized and get put into the game, so they are getting hunted for most of it. Dexter only really has one kill, and that is Grigsby, but I guess it's playing out like an episode of the show, so I'll give it that. Grigsby did kill quite a few foreigners in it, so there is death. My favorite part of the whole book was the illustrations by far. I like how they made the Dark Passenger actually, I don't know, just the way that they did it, they sort of would just have his eyes floating and then like a shadow type effect, and that would show when he's going into his Dark Passenger. I thought that was pretty goddamn cool. They did a lot of Aboriginals and kangaroos and koalas, and really they kind of made Australia look like a really exotic place. They even said that at the start, that he's just like, think exotic, think about exotic when you go into this joint. And I thought it was pretty cool. It was a pretty good representation of Australia for the most part, other than the crappy dialogue. They had Dexter eat a meat pie, just a random fact I'll throw out there. So yeah, I thought it was an interesting story, and I didn't know how they were going to get him to Australia, and I thought they did a pretty decent execution. It's only 5 issues, so it's not offensive. I think I personally like it more for the fact that it is based in Australia, and Dexter's one of my favorite, characters ever written. But for people out there, would I recommend it? I'd give it a go if you could find it. I got all the issues, 5 issues for $18. If you can get something like that, it's an easy afternoon read, but it's not anything that's going to blow your mind. It's not like, oh my God, it's reignited me to go back and watch the show again. No, it is what it is, and it's just a one continuous story. I feel like most of the serial killer type things in Australia are all based heavily around sort of the Wolf Creek-esque hunting in the outback, and I guess that's all we really have. I don't know how prolific our serial killer game is compared to America, so I guess that's fair as well. But if you enjoyed the review, leave it a like, add it to your favorites and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon.